Okay, we are live and going.
Welcome to our bonus episode, folks. We have finally finished the shit show that is Taskmaster USA. Woo!
May we never speak of it again.
Yeah, and soon we'll be moving on to back onto the UK version into its second phase, as I like to call it. And very soon we'll be doing, well, not very soon. We've still got, I think we've got to finish phase. We've got to finish series 9 first. And then we've got Taskmaster New Zealand, which I'm so excited to talk about.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, people say Series 2 of Taskmaster New Zealand is literally top 5 best Taskmaster series ever, and I do agree with that. But I think Series 1 deserves a bit more love. I think it's quite underrated. Anyway, so we're here. Also,
what is
speaking
this
of
format that you gave me homework for, Emerson?
Okay, so I would like to. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to be ranking our contestants the contestants from the first 5 UK series of Taskmaster. So I'm not going to list everyone now because you probably know them anyway. So here's how we're going to do it. Okay, I got the idea.
I mean,
for this
if
format.
we want to list them out, we can.
All right. So we've got in order of like alphabetical based on series: Frank Skinner, Josh Widdicombe, Roshan Connerty, Ramesh Ranganathan, Tim Key, Doc Brown, Joe Wilkinson, John Richardson, Catherine Ryan, Richard Osman, Al Murray, Dave Gorman, Paul Chowdhury, Rob Beckett, Sarah Pascoe, Hugh Dennis, Joe Lycett, Lolly Adefope, Mel Gedroich, Noel Fielding, Aisling B, Bob Mortimer, Mark Watson, Nish Kumar, and Sally Phillips. Boom.
Yep.
So
just that everyone's on the same page.
That's the 25 people we're going to be ranking today. And I've got the idea this ranking is based on someone, I don't know them personally, but it's Clay, aka Cascapade. I think I'm pronouncing that right. He has made a 5-hour-long YouTube video where he and a friend of his rank all 117 episodes from the first 3 seasons of SpongeBob SquarePants. I'd say it's a great watch, but it's more the sort of thing you have on in the background while you do something else. And I love those. It's basically like a podcast in video format.
If we do 5 hours of this, I'll kill you.
No, this won't be 5 hours. It might be 2 max. Okay.
2.
Can you 2 max? Can you live with that?
Listen, it's a nice day outside. I was thinking this was going to be like 45 minutes.
All right, we'll see. I said max, so it might take less. Okay, depends. I mean, the contestants we have, we agree more on, we might have less to say about. But let me explain how we did this. So me and Joe went away and we ranked the 25 contestants ourselves individually.
He gave me homework.
Yeah, and you passed with flying colors. Anyway, so what we've done is, well, if you think what you did was bad, I then had to sit and then work out the averages between the two.
Why didn't you just put them into Excel and just add and just do a couple of functions?
That's a good point, actually.
Actually, I want to ask you a question. Did I sent you a color-coded Excel spreadsheet? Did you think I colored each of them individually?
No.
Okay, because I definitely inputted them by season and then sorted.
Yeah, I know. I worked that out. I've color coded them by season or series as well, not in exactly the same way you have, but yeah. Anyway, so I've worked out the averages between mine and Joe's rankings, and that is how they have been ranked for the final time for this video. And there's a couple of disagreements. We've got 3 types of disagreement. We have a minor disagreement, which I've classified as anything between a spread of... Actually, should I talk about the spread first? I'll talk about this because I'm on track with it. A minor disagreement is where we have the difference of a spread of between 6 and 10 between our rankings. Moderate is when the difference is a spread of 11 to 15. And the major disagreement is anything higher than 16.
Yeah, places. I'm going to just say this right now. A lot of these major disagreements are going to come from the fact that I just didn't think that particular contestant wasn't very memorable.
Well, we have a grand total of 5 minor disagreements. We don't have any moderate disagreements, and we only have 1 major disagreement.
Okay, I think I know which one it is.
Also, I should say, in the events of there being a tie, so obviously if two contestants have the same average, the smaller the spread, the higher above they'll go. So, for instance, if I rank a contestant 8th and Joe ranks him 12th, that's an average of 10, right? So it's a spread of 4. If, however, Joe ranks a contestant 5th and I rank them 15th, that's also an average of 10. But because the spread is much wider between the one where I rank them 15th and he ranked them 5th, that one would go lower. So just, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's all out of the way. Actually, there is one instance where there was a tie between two contestants and they had the same spread. So we're going to have to break the tie when we get to them.
Okay.
But other than that, there have been no problems. So are you ready, Joe?
Yes.
So, we're actually starting out with a tie for, we had two contestants.
Are we going from top to bottom or bottom to top?
We're starting with the contestant that is ranked the lowest on our list. So the one we seem to like. Well, we weren't in agreement. So we actually have a tie for 24th place. But to break the tie, we had to go with the person whose spread was bigger.
So why don't we both say who we had for last place and then explain the spread and everything? Because I don't know who.
Well, we don't have the same person for last place here.
Okay.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to say where I ranked them, and then I'm going to say where you ranked them, and then I'm going to very quickly say who it is, so that you don't. Okay. So I ranked this person 20th. I ranked this person 23rd, and you ranked them 25th. It's Catherine Ryan.
Okay.
You get it now, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we weren't in agreement on this one. I mean, we were sort of were. It's not a major or minor disagreement, but why don't you like Catherine very much?
Catherine Ryan is actually and really a psychopath. Like, there is nothing I have.
Also, I am eating, just saying. I have cheesy tortilla, non-brand. Well, I say non-brand. There is a brand, but I'm not going to say them. Cheesy tortilla chips next to me.
I'm drinking water. But
anyway, sorry, keep going.
My opinion on Catherine is that, so as I've said in both the Champion of Champions and in the season 2 video, North American accent with the standard issue cruel British humor does not make me laugh. It makes me uncomfortable. Then we add on to the fact that Catherine is an honest-to-God psychopath. Or maybe a sociopath. I'm not entirely sure on that. Like she might have gone on the place above. She might have been 24th if it hadn't been for the make the biggest mess task.
Oh, that was an absolute. I was toying between last place for a couple of people.
I'm just going to say this right now. On my list, anywhere between 24th and 14th, those are all just in there in a rough order because I can't really they could all be in a different place in that range because I had to scour my mind to remember anything notably interesting about them.
Yeah, that's what I feel like happened with the bottom 3 on this list.
But 25th and 24th.
The bottom 3 on the final ranking are my bottom. Well, even the bottom 4 even are my personal bottom 4. They're not your personal bottom 4.
Yeah. 23rd and 24th and 25th on mine were there was a brief thought of which order do they go in, not are they going anywhere else.
I sort of I just don't like Catherine Ryan much because I just think she's really annoying, not in the very charming way, and also just kind of forgettable.
That too, but the lack of charm really enhances the sociopathy.
And I think maybe after this might be a bit unfair, but sort of hot on the heels of Taskmaster USA, this feels a bit. I don't know. It's just sort of I don't know.
Oh, Catherine would have demolished Taskmaster USA.
I
Catherine would
think
have
she
been the
would have
best.
been she would have been the best part of Taskmaster USA. I think,
Absolutely. Like if Catherine had done
which is
Taskmaster
saying something
USA,
because Freddie Highmore and Alex Horn are both on that show. But
yeah,
you know, actually, let's bury Taskmaster USA 6 feet underground and never speak of it again. Should
yes,
we move on to number 24?
yes,
Now, we have the same person for 24, so there's no spread. We have both put Doc Brown as number 24.
yep.
I really just have this. I can't remember anything about Doc, really,
Well,
other
I
than he
can,
didn't really like his
I
time.
can, but the problem is that it's all negative stuff. Like for anyone who does remember the rant I had about the potato task, I do think that Doc was. That's the biggest thing that stands out to me about Doc is him being a little bit duplicitous, but also just as it's been said later on, Doc did not enjoy being on Taskmaster, and I actually, I thought you asked me to give a favorite moment for each of these two, so I wrote down a favorite moment from each of these people, and Doc's my favorite moment from was him not enjoying being on Taskmaster because he admits that, and it honestly salvages him from dead last because
It's kind of funny.
him acknowledging I didn't like being on this show explains so much and gives me a little bit more respect for him. Enough to put Catherine stone dead last.
I sort of feel the same way. I couldn't really remember anything about the bottom three specifically. I couldn't really vividly remember, either had no memories of them or no positive memories of them.
Yeah.
I don't really think we have much more to say about. Sorry, that's two Series 2 contestants in the bottom.
Series 2 does not do well on my list.
Neither does it in mine and the overall ranking. Well, yeah, well, I think it did slightly better in mine, but not by much. But in this general list overall, it's not good. Next up, we have. Remind me to take a drink of water. I need to take a drink of water.
Take a drink of water. Maybe stop eating during the podcast.
I'm hungry. Anyway,
stop eating crunchy foods that will upset your throat.
I was eating name and address with name withheld cheesy Doritos.
That's definitely easy to eat and talk with.
Did I just say the brand name?
Yes.
Screw it, who cares? Anyway, we have our first Series 3 contestant at number 23 with an average rank of 21, and our first minor disagreement, I ranked them 25th, so they were my last place contestant, but you ranked them 17. We have Sarah Pascoe.
Really?
Yes.
You didn't like Sarah that much?
I didn't really, but like I said, these bottom three for me, I had very little memories of. And I personally feel the reason why I didn't rank Catherine dead last is because even though I don't have super fond memories of her, I still had a couple of memories of her. I had no memories of Sarah Pascoe whatsoever. And I think making me feel nothing is worse than making me feel a negative emotion, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, no, I just happen to remember
like, Sarah Pascoe is the only person on this list I literally could not remember a single thing they did, like, off the top of my head.
Yeah, I can see that. Sarah really was not defined as a person in the show. She was mostly there she mostly seemed to complement Rob Beckett.
Yeah, they were
a lot of that.
I
the
feel
Aryan
like
twins double acts really seemed to.
Rob absolutely carried the Sarah Rob team without a shadow of doubt.
But I
also
did put her.
Sorry, what?
I put her 17th just because I felt that she was above some of the other people that I put there.
Fair enough. Yeah, I had no care about Sarah at all, and I just, like I said, I think it's like when you do stand-up comedy, or any sort of performing act, a negative, like, it's better to have people say, "Boo, you stink," and tell you to get off the stage than to have them just sit in silence.
Yeah.
And number 22 with this was also a tie, but this was also a tie for with two contestants with 21, but Sarah's spread was higher. Also with 21, but ranked slightly ahead due to their small spread. I put them 22. You put them 20. It's Richard Osman.
Yeah, Osman, I definitely didn't remember much. Like
I feel
Osman, I was like, I wonder what it was he did. And then I actually had to go look up what he did. And it was like,
Osman's. I personally think that aside from the potato throwing task, Osman has the most memorable moment of Series 2, which is the
he,
yoga ball on the mat. Certainly a memorable moment for us when we
the
did our
yoga ball
episode.
on the mat, and then the warning sign that looks like his face. And then also I would say the rash bets that he did for just because
Hmm,
I remember the phrase rash bets every now and again strictly because of him.
that's fair. I feel like similar to no, I think what I think is Catherine sort of. I wouldn't say she became like an antagonist, but she was sort of like the. I'd say, let me describe this to you. Catherine Ryan is like in a Mr. Krabs kind of position, while Richard Osman, ironically, is in a Plankton position. By that I mean Plankton is supposed to be the villain of SpongeBob, but Mr. Krabs is not the best person either, but he's still supposed to be one of the good guys, if you get what I mean.
Hmm. I am
Um,
not going to wade into SpongeBob discourse, but sure.
I love SpongeBob. Um, like I said, I think the yoga ball task, obviously, that was a very memorable moment for us. We had one of our biggest laughing fits in the show's history. That would be a good bonus episode. Top 10 laughing fits on YTSN ATP.
We could definitely do that. I don't think we've had 10
It won't
laughing.
come yet. Won't come yet though.
Yeah.
That's a shame to say. But yeah, I saw, and the yoga ball task itself, I think that sort of redefined and caused like a flipped a switch in Alex Horn's head to sort of word the tasks very, very specifically. Like if it wasn't for
Mm-hmm.
that task, I don't think some of the tasks would be extremely specific. Anyway, on to our next contestant, number 21, with an average score of 20.5. I ranked them 19. You ranked them 22. We have Aisling B.
Yeah. Aisling, again, is one of these characters where I feel bad ranking her in the 20s, but at the same time, I was like, do I want to put her in front of these other people? And I'm like, no, because Aisling has a couple of things, and that's about it. I think, honestly, on my list, Aisling would either be in her position as 23, or you could swap her with like Dave Gorman, who I have at 16.
Yeah, well,
Or no, I put
way
way
to
to
kind of
spoil.
way to spoil. Yeah,
I put Ashley at 22, and yeah, Gorman. She could be
yeah,
either in either of those, but it's just it doesn't matter.
yeah. We don't have a lot of. Actually, the majority of Series 5 contestants are way, way up on this list for both of us.
Yeah,
Um,
but
so
I
I really don't. I
yeah,
feel like Aisling had obviously dignity intact, and the jelly pole, especially, which in the notes you sent as Jello pole, which obviously yes, you're American, that's how you say it, but sort of like in the spirit of Taskmaster, you're supposed to say it jelly.
cool. I won't, but neat.
Um,
Jelly is a
the,
very different thing in the United
yes,
States.
it's what we call jam, like the stuff you spread
Hmm.
on toast. That's weird. It's like crisps and chips. Both words are
But
used
we
in.
also have jam in the United States.
What's jam? Dare I ask?
The same thing.
Okay, that's really confusing. Anyway, Aisling had her good moments, like I said. Jelly pole. Someone did like a watercolor painting of that, and it's amazing. I can't
It
remember
is.
who.
It's great, but it can't make up for the fact that
Yeah,
nothing else really stands
I
up.
think if it was anyone, I think if it was someone else, it wouldn't have made a difference. If you see what I mean.
Yeah.
Um, I think the moments with like the coconut businessman was Aisling kind of just being being like the feminist that she is, sort of like blew a simple miswording way out of proportion.
Yeah.
To the point,
Mhm.
if she'd just be like, oh, can it be like does it have to be, do you think we could make a businesswoman instead? And I was just like, yeah, all right, you could do really whatever you want. It was a mistake. And she just sort of like did a businesswoman. I think it would have been fine. But the fact that she had to
Yeah.
like blow it so out of proportion to the point where it wasn't funny really didn't help.
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah.
Number 20. Number 20, with an average ranking of 20, I put them 21. You put them 19. It's Paul Chowdhury.
Yep.
Paul Chowdhury's, his characters are sort of like the unlikable kid who's like at the back of the car constantly asking, are we there yet? Every second. That's
Paul's
how I see him.
problem is that his general ineptitude drags down the frankly bizarre personality faults to the point where it ceases to be even funny. He's like a surrealist art installation where
That's
you
fair.
either like it immediately or you're staring at it for 20 minutes wondering why we fund the arts.
Sorry, I'm eating again.
Thanks,
Um,
Emerson.
well, this is like the most chill thing ever. I've got nothing to worry about. I'm here
I'm
talking to.
hungry too, but you don't see me crunching into the microphone.
I've never eaten before. You've drunk on the podcast before.
Yes, because I consume liquids and I do it away from the microphone. And I also don't say it. You could just edit yourself out, but you say I'm eating, and then I have to acknowledge it.
It's because I'm lazy.
You do this all the time.
Hey, coming soon. Task Master.
Oh no.
If that's not a future episode title, I don't know what is. I'm sorry.
What if? Oh my god. Anyway, who's next?
No, I haven't finished talking about Paul. Yeah, he sort of just established himself as like not the villain, but just sort of like the one of the unlikable ones. Like
he's an anti-hero.
Yeah, like I think his Rob Bucket joke is the only time in the whole show where a comedian makes a joke in the the studio and no one responds to it.
Yeah, I don't really remember much about.
I mean, obviously,
there's weird
bastards crying in it is all time.
Yeah,
all time greatest Taskmaster quotes. That's out of order, mate. When he gets hissy at Alex for like the rolling task, that was funny. Nothing really to say. Number 19. We have a minor disagreement here with a spread of 7. An average ranking of 19.5. I ranked them 16. You ranked them 23. It's Lolly Adefope from Series 4.
Lolly I don't remember anything from her. Lolly was just like, all I remember is the bringing in a lot of money for a prize task, hiding from Alex, and dressing as Princess Diana. And
that moment was fucking incredible. I'm just
when she whacked it up was so weird that it's like this drags down everything else and it puts her below people who I might remember more stuff for.
I just think, first of all, Lolly is the GOAT when it comes to prize tasks. She is the all-time best scoring contestant when it comes to prize tasks. And
that may be. I just don't remember any of it.
I don't know. I just sort of like, there's nothing really I dislike about Lolly. Like, she's not, like, there's obviously stuff I remember. There's the cash. There's the friendship is truth. Stuck in my mind for a while. But yeah, it's sort of just like, she's sort of like one of the average contestants for me.
Lolly is there.
Yeah. But I wouldn't say I disliked her to the point where I put her really low.
It wasn't even dislike. It was just general, who gives a shit?
Fair enough. I guess we don't really, I thought we'd have more to say, but apparently we don't. Number 18, with an average rank of 18, I put them 20, you put them 16, it's Dave Gorman.
Yeah, Gorman is also one of those who's just there, but
Yeah.
I
I mean, he
really
obviously, the big thing with him is the cheating.
well, Gorman also had the fun things like the in the shout across the river task, which is just one of those great things where he got someone else who's also famous to shout across the river for him was really fun. And then also occasionally I am still assaulted by the image of the Gorm Hub logo that he has on his shirt, which really put him up a couple of spots. Like that shirt really did.
The Gorm Hub one is the one that's like the Paisley one, isn't it?
The Gorm Hub shirt is the one that looks like the Pornhub logo,
Oh,
but
yeah.
it has
I don't
it
recall him
is.
actually wearing that on Taskmaster.
I thought it was at one point. Maybe it.
Because
I certainly haven't.
I do remember
I certainly haven't looked him up elsewhere.
because I do remember he wore like this blue flannel shirt, sort of like, the stereotypical lumberjack shirt, but in blue.
Yeah.
Because he ripped that in half when they had to do the spread your clothes as far and wide as possible task. But yeah, to me, Lolly and Dave, to be fair though, a couple of these are the next couple ones are sort of like contestants who are just like there.
Yeah, like as I said, I could swap Gorman and Ashling and not feel anything about either one of those. It's just that it's like because everyone else I feel is just sort of there, but those two I ranked everything else and I was like, oh shit, I have to put something there, and I've just put them in those spots, and it's like they could be there, they could be further up, but it's like
Yeah. I thought we were just making weird noises.
No, I'm just you're having to. The problem is that with a lot of these stuff, like as you might notice in how my list is structured, the people that I don't remember, the people that I put low, I don't remember anything on. Like I can tell you like a list of things about the people I have in like 12th, 11th, 10th, 9th, and 8th, and so on, but like season 2 and 3, I mean, a lot of them were just sort of there.
I honestly get that. Should we move on?
Yeah.
All right. So, in 17th place with an average score of 17.5, I put them 17, you put them 18. This might surprise a lot of people. It's Joe Wilkinson.
Joe, the problem with Wilkinson is that
I mean, yes, he has one of the most iconic moments in Taskmaster of all time, but that's really it.
The problem is that his character that he plays, because he obviously plays this sort of character on the show, or
it's sort of like he sort of takes like he's sort of like Paul Chowdhury in the sense that he doesn't really give a shit.
No, he's not that. He's just this sad sack sort of role.
Yeah,
he's just there to get abused.
He's like a recently divorced man, basically.
Yeah, basically. Or like I'm reminded of a quote by John Cleese, which is like the difference between British comedy and American comedy can be seen in a scene from National Lampoon's Animal House, where a guy playing guitar gets the guitar ripped out of his hand and smashed by the cool guy. And in American comedy, you want to be the cool guy who smashes the annoying guitar player. And in British comedy, you want to be the guitar player. And Wilkinson just has this aura of
the guy who's had his guitar smashed.
I am waiting for someone to abuse me so that I can make it funny. And and in the context of Taskmaster, where you're supposed to at least put in an effort, this doesn't work as well as it could have. And so it drags down what otherwise would be a higher ranking from me.
The reason why I ranked Joe here is because, he's sort of in like the just there sort of role outside of his big iconic moment. 42 Calippos is like, obviously, yeah, it's amazing, but it's not in like a standout amazing. It's just like, oh, you managed to do this, cool. Because I mean, like anyone can really get 42 Calippos. Maybe not from the same shop, but I think if a person went to say maybe 7 or 8 shops, they could bundle that amount together.
The other problem, specifically for Joe, is that season 2 is, I feel, one of the weaker ones as far as tasks go too.
Weird thing is,
Like,
I think series 1 is really, really good. It's not one of the best. It's one of my personal favorites of the show. But then they sort of like took a kind of one step forward, two steps back approach with 2 and 3. I think, well, Taskmaster series are produced so close together now. Literally, like, one wraps up, another starts.
I think the thing with, in regards to that is that 1 was produced as like we've got some money, let's do this, we might not get to do it again. And 2 and 3 were shit, the network wants 2 seasons, because these definitely were ordered at the same time. And because
hence why they're shorter.
Why would they be shorter if they weren't? And we've got to do stuff. So Alex has to get into this mode. And then I think after 3, he's sort of in the zone, and he gets with 4.
Series 4 is where the show really starts accelerating.
And I think the other thing is the contestants, because as you've noticed, we've been through 4 of the 5 season 2 contestants.
And we'll be wrapping up the series 2 contestants very, very shortly.
So they're not the best contestants doing not the best tasks.
Yeah, I'm going to minus spoiler. None of the contestants from series 2 or 3 crack the top 10.
Yeah, I think on my list, the highest anyone gets from season 3 is number 9, but clearly you've ranked him a little bit lower.
On to number 16, which has an average of 16. I rank them 18th, you rank them 14th with a spread of 4. It's John Richardson.
Yep. And that is the last person from season 2.
The best person, but it's like, so what? If you get what I mean. Nothing wrong with John. He's fine.
It's really weird because I actually had to look through the video compilation that Taskmaster puts online to even think of what he did. But even before that, I knew he was going higher than anybody except maybe Osman. And then I looked at what Osman did. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. That's all he did that I remembered.
Sorry, my parents are shouting outside.
And so I was just like, yeah, John Richardson goes up here.
Yeah, again, like I said, with most of these contestants in the teens, they're just sort of there.
Yeah.
Well, I'd say maybe from 15 or 14, which is coincidentally where we're starting next, they start to get a bit more, these are these people.
Yeah.
If you get what I mean. For me, though, I think John's realization at Under the Table, realizing that debajo de la mesa is what that means, was one of my favorite moments, because it's when we talked about the task in Taskmaster USA, the reason I didn't like it, one reason I didn't like it as much, is because they found the stuff. But it's in the UK version, it's just sort of been left as this enigma.
That. I liked that so much because it was.
I think you liked it because because we talked about the British one first. It's sort of like a what could have been. But to me, I prefer British.
That's not why. Because in the USA, they found the stuff, and we're talking about USA again. Dylan found it on his way out after he'd fucked up, and then Freddie found the stuff, used it, and still was bad at it. And that's what's funny. I can only imagine if Freddie had managed to fuck up building his bridge so much that he'd gotten second place. That would have been the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen.
You've called things a lot of the fucking funniest thing you've ever seen quite a few times, and it's pretty good. But anyway, after saying we bury Taskmaster USA, we've dug it up at least twice. Number 15, Joe?
Why are you asking me? You're the one who has the average.
No, I'm asking, do you want to talk about number 15?
John Richardson?
No, he was 16.
We haven't said number 15.
Yeah, exactly. Number 15, and we both rank this person in exactly the same place at number 15. Roisin Connaughton. There we go.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I think this is where I start to. All the contestants are like, "I remember something about you
Yeah.
now."
Yeah.
Because to me,
Roshin is.
I think Roshin. I'm going to talk about the melon task because obviously it's remembered for
Yeah. Yeah.
obviously what
That's
Ramesh
exactly
and
what
Tim
I
does.
put in here too.
But the reason why that task is so perfect as like the first task of the show is because you immediately understand all the contestants in that task.
Yes. Yes.
And so obviously you've got Frank and Josh. Well, Josh a little more civilized. Josh is sort of slicing it, spinning it. Frank goes at it a little bit, but nowhere as near as much as Tim and Ramesh, who absolutely decimate the thing. And then you've got Roshi just like, oh, it's a thing. I need a hammer. And then spends
No, she needs a knife.
a knife. Well, she hammers down on the watermelon. I
Yeah.
remember that.
I
But she leaves with no urgency whatsoever, gets a knife, and basically doesn't eat any watermelon until there's 5 seconds left.
Yeah. Roshin is such an integral part of what makes Taskmaster Season 1 so funny, and I feel really bad for putting her down here in 15th place, but the problem is that she's belligerent in her badness. And so like she will argue like with the horse riding task where she just rides the jockey trainer instead of the actual horse. Like it's so she argues so much and it just drags her down a little. Like I think she probably would have been in the top 10
Oh
if
no,
it
I remember
not.
her being a sorry, I remember her being a filthy hypocrite in the well, not a filthy hypocrite, but in like the pie task and
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh
And I
yeah,
was like,
no, but that sort of stuff is just hilarious. That's why she's so high up as she is.
well,
Because
we say so
otherwise,
high up, she's like she's not even in the top half.
oh no,
But
she could have been down by like Paul Chowdhury, down in like
yeah.
20th.
Yeah, but Roshin, I think Roshin does the really well. Not obviously she wins an episode, but most of the quote unquote bad contestants have won at least one episode.
Yeah. Roshin is like there's this internet post that goes around every once in a while where it's like I want to see a normal person compete at the Olympics so we have a baseline. And Roshin is the normal person against Tim, Josh, and Ramesh of
Oh god, you got three
understanding nothing.
absolute. I mean, yeah, we've got Roshin who's just like doing it, and then you've got the three absolute units: Josh, Tim, and Key,
And then
and Ramesh.
Frank, who is just Frank is there, but is there in such a memorable way that I ranked him really high.
I didn't quite rank Frank as high as you did, but I still really liked him. Anyway,
Yeah.
we have a tie for our next two places. So to break the tie, we obviously went to the spread. And the contestant with the larger spread is our only major disagreement on this whole list.
Hmm.
With an average rank of 13 and a spread of 15, I ranked them 5th. You ranked them 21st for some godforsaken reason. Noel Fielding. Would you care to explain yourself?
Yes, I would. So the thing that everybody thinks about immediately when you think of Noel on Taskmaster is
The banana.
the banana and then the mask and the sandwich. The banana, I have said on the thing, should not have counted because he did not disguise himself. He green screened himself. The mask was fucking weird, and the sandwich task was fucking weird. Noel is like 2 clicks too far on the weirdo meter to rank above people like Roshin, people like Gorman, people like Joe Wilkinson, even like Paul Chowdhury, because Paul Chowdhury is at least is an interesting disaster to look at, but Noel is like everyone is saying you should like this, and you just look at it more as like nah, fam, not for me. Like even like the only thing that I really enjoy of his is the cake destruction, and I had to think about that for a minute.
Oh wait, I remember you said like, "Why is the washing machine in the kitchen?"
Which
You essentially you told me you're not British without telling me you weren't British.
I told
If you
you I
get that.
wasn't British, but I
No,
know.
it's
Yes.
like you know when like people say, "Tell me your one thing" without telling me your same thing.
How do you guys dry your clothes? Do you hang them up like savages, or is there a dryer elsewhere in the house?
We hang them up. It is perfectly normal in the UK to air dry your clothes.
But it rains.
Sometimes we do it inside.
But then your house gets wet.
No, we let air in, and then it still kind of just dry. It's like you know when you hold a, if you hold like a wet sock in front of a hairdryer, it's gonna dry.
Why are you holding a wet sock in front of a hairdryer?
We don't do it like that. I'm using it as an example.
Why would you do that anyways?
Well, maybe you want something dry really quickly.
Put on new socks. Don't tell me you only have like one pair of socks.
Oh yeah, that's how Americans solve all the problems. Just throw it away and get something new. Meanwhile, in Britain,
Put it in the laundry and get a new pair of socks. Jesus Christ! I'm sitting next to my chest of drawers. I've probably got like 35 pairs of socks spread over 2 drawers.
Can I talk about why I love Noel Fielding? Please.
Sure.
Noel Fielding has so many strikingly amazing moments, personally, that just really stick with me. None of them are like, well, some of them are. The reason I love the banana so much is because you just don't see it coming. If you showed me, obviously it's kind of lost its magic now because my mind is drawn immediately to the fruit bowl.
I know exactly why you should like it, and the problem is that it just.
And it's sort of like when you see it, you're just laughing. But I loved his back chat with Greg. I loved.
Noel is a great.
I love how Noel either did very, very good or very, very bad.
Yeah,
is what I'm saying. Like if we think back to one of my personal favorite tasks of Series 4 is the hide and seek task, and Alex finds Noel in like 15 seconds or something, and
yeah,
it's sort of just like I would have expected Noel. Well, I wouldn't have expected because he's better at more the artsy tasks, but I thought he would have just like, oh, where can I hide so Alex doesn't find me? And yeah, Alex finds him immediately, and I just love. And Greg delivers I mean, this isn't really to do with Noel, but my personal favorite insult of Greg's is to Noel after this task, where he says, "Literally, you are as stealthy as a cow."
Yeah. I understand why people like him. I'm just like,
that's not even my favorite Noel Fielding moment. It's. Do you remember the task where it's the team task where they all have like their own little bits to do with the bathtub? Do you remember that one?
Which one?
It's the team task. There's a bathtub. One team has to cling film the bath. Another has to put as many things as possible in the bath.
They do not coordinate in the slightest.
Yeah. But Noel's special task was to fill the bathtub with water. And I absolutely, obviously this is like, I love this image so much. Noel disappears off screen for like 30 seconds while the two young'uns, Joe Lycett and Lolly, just go at putting their things in the tub. And then Noel runs in out of nowhere with the hose. While the camera doesn't follow him, he's sort of, it's still, the camera's not moving. He runs in shot with the hose it's not like a mad grin, but it's like a kid on Christmas morning kind of glee. And I love it so much. He just runs in. You don't expect him at all. It's like, oh, there's Noel. He just appears out of nowhere and he just goes and does his thing. Just sort of, I love the Goth Crow aesthetic of him. Mr. Tony Three Pies himself, Noel Fielding, ladies and gentlemen.
It's just not as much as me. I'm not as much into that.
I thought you were going to say it's not as much as me. I'm not as, what are you like? Would you say you're like the same carnage level as Noel Fielding?
Define carnage.
Crazy, chaotic, Goth Crow.
I mean, I'm not goth. You would have to ask people around me. I'm very bad at self-awareness, according to my mother. Hi, Mom. I know you listen to this. Love you.
A man can't be goth and wear Hawaiian shirts. I mean, maybe he could.
A goth Hawaiian shirt would be fun, but
I think it'd just be like black with like the like tiki style paintings, but of like skulls and bats and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah,
Anyway, we've got someone else in our tie. There was no difference. There was no spread. It was a spread of 0. In 13th place, with an average of 13, we both rank them exactly the same. It's Joe Lycett.
yep. I knew Joe was going to be up here a little bit. I just had to remember exactly why. And it's mostly like he's just
Because I
I
didn't.
like it's
Sorry, keep going.
this show is a scam line and him just being genuinely upset at everything.
Because I didn't rank Joe as high as no. Sorry, I combined their names and said Joel for a second. Because I didn't rank Joe as high as Noel, I don't really have much to say about him. So he's still in like that sort of like their level. But he does obviously the smiling and the he wasn't really like combating Greg so much, but it was sort of just like saying no a lot and sort of just like
Yeah.
shutting Greg down was some of my favorites things. Like I remember, do you remember the chair task, the prize task, where they had to bring in the best chair,
Yeah.
and Joe brings in like a small pot of,
Yeah.
well, not
He
a pot,
brought
but
in the
like a
scale
small,
model of his
yeah,
chair.
and when Greg asks if he'll make a full scale thing if he wins, it's like I've got quite a lot on Greg, just shutting him down. That's something I remember quite fondly, but I don't have as much to say about Joe as I do Noel. So yeah.
Hmm.
Should we progress?
Yes.
Number 12, with an average ranking of 11.5, I rank them 14th, you rank them 9th. It's Al Murray.
Al is my favorite season 3 contestant. Al is just great.
There's a lot to love about Al. He's not my favorite, because he's not. There's one more Series 3 contestant on this list, but he is great. He is
Al is
the money.
Al
The
is
whole money
great.
thing is fantastic.
The
It's a
gong.
yeah. The money thing, I think, particularly is great because it's nothing anyone else on Taskmaster has ever approached.
I would love it if someone else did, but
And
I totally get.
in this capital world where inflation is at an all-time high, well, not an all-time high, it has been much higher in the past, but
Oh, it's an all-time high. It's at one of the highest points it's ever been in the US.
yeah, in the UK it's been like 50 years ago it was about 3-4 times as high as it is now, so it's
Oof.
been
Okay,
worse.
moving on. Uh,
Yeah, I like Al Murray, the money, Murray Vision, the Gong task. Oh yeah, the
I
obviously.
like him showing up in Joe Lycett's disguise yourself task.
Oh yeah, that was brilliant. I forgot that.
And also another thing that pushed him up that high was just that apparently he will just show up at the Taskmaster set
Because
when they're filming
because
and for
I live
no
near the
reason.
now yeah, because Al lives near the Taskmaster house. I also live near the Taskmaster house. Well, not near. I could take. It's like half an hour, 40 minutes on a bus to get to the Taskmaster house from my house. Anyway, yeah, Al Murray's great. Number 11, with an average rank of 11, we both rank them at 11. It's Rob Beckett, my personal favorite Series 3 contestant.
Rob is great for a lot of like very subtle reasons. Like he plays off of Sarah very well. He does a lot of the stuff that's just he's just a very solid candidate. And then there's the surprise Alex task.
Alex, you've been a bad boy. I love that. And then just his cackly laugh. To me, Series 3 wasn't amazing or anything, but
Season 3 could have been a lot worse if they'd had shittier contestants.
yeah, like it could have been Series 2 or last time I'm going to say it, Taskmaster USA.
I don't think I could have gotten that bad, but I think just everybody sort of doing what they did, it was better than season 2, but lesser than the other stuff to date.
I'm eating again because I'm hungry.
Like, what did I rank the seasons as when you asked me to? Yeah, I said where the hell was it?
I stupidly didn't get like an average for our seasons ranking, but I don't think we'll differentiate too much. Anyway, Al Murray's a great contestant, yes, but to me, Rob Beckett absolutely stole Series 3. Like, from
Oh,
start...
when
Sorry?
I sent you my list, I said 51342. I meant 51432 because
Fair enough.
you messaged me that at 9 a.m., which is like 3 minutes after I'd
Yeah, well,
woken up.
that's not 9 a.m. for me. It's like 2 or 3 in the afternoon. Yeah, I
I'm
sent it at
aware.
2 o'clock in the afternoon for me.
I know what time it is in
So,
England, and I was still blinking the sleep out of my eyes.
yeah, but you have to remember that just because a text is sent obscenely, like we can, like the only time I can send a decent text or we could properly communicate when we both have the same ish energy level is like 5 or 6 o'clock in the UK, my time.
Yeah, no, I know. I was just like I mistyped that. Anyways,
Anyway,
what
Rob
a
Beckett absolutely stole the show. He carried Sarah throughout all the team tasks. He had some amazingly memorable moments. His cackle, Alex, you've been a bad boy, the winking, and the pizza task in Championship. We haven't talked a lot about the contestants in
oh
Champion of
yeah,
Champions.
Champion of Champions with the pizza. I totally forgot about, but that's great. That's
Hmm.
really good. I
You
really
may,
like that one. The
I mean,
100 pizzas.
I know I've already got some food, but honestly, like every time I see a pizza, just in general, I want one. Like really,
Well,
just
that's
it's
just how humanity responds to pizza.
anyway. Rob Beckett is awesome. Uh, Nine spoiler. We have no more contestants from series 2 or 3 left in this ranking now, as we reach the top 10.
It's only the good seasons after this.
Should we go to number 10?
Yes.
Number 10, with an average ranking of 10.5, I ranked them 9th, you ranked them 12th, Mark Watson.
Yep. Mark Watson has just a little bit too much sad sack energy to break the top 10.
He's like the sad little schoolboy, if you see what I mean.
Mark Watson is like Joe Wilkinson, but if the character he was playing was like 28 instead of mid 40s.
I mean, like, Joe is a little bit older than Mark, not by much though.
No, but the character that
Yeah, I
Joe
get
is
that.
obviously playing is like a guy in his 40s
Like
who
he's given up all. The thing with the difference between their characters is Joe has no hope whatsoever, only further solidified by the potato task.
yeah.
Mark has no hope, but he either keeps
Mark is
he keeps
optimistic,
believing
but
himself,
Joe is
or
not.
he doesn't realize he has no hope. If you get what I mean.
Yeah, Mark is optimistic where he should not be, and Joe is just dead inside.
But that's what makes Mark so endearing. It makes it so great when you
Yeah.
see him succeed.
Yeah,
And
which is why he's up
there's a
that
lot of
far up.
painful moments with Mark though. Like I think in terms of like most generally painful moments with a contestant, Mark Watson takes it.
Yeah, the texts especially.
The task where they had to throw this coconut as far as possible. Mark gets a piggyback ride from the crew all the way to the bank of the Thames, only to fall at the final hurdle.
Yep.
I think it was, yeah, and they had to not touch the ground. And also I love that you may not say any words containing any of the letters found in the word Taskmaster. So you get a lot of like fiddly, fiddly, fiddly and all that.
Yeah, it's...
Oh, and also that tweet I told you about in like a couple of episodes ago where he had that dream that he was
on Taskmaster. Yeah, what was that? I don't...
Shall I read? I'll read it out again.
Yeah.
Forgive
I
me.
want to get the exact wording right.
Okay, just give me a second. I didn't anticipate pulling this up. Here we go. I dreamed I was back on Taskmaster. The task was to look after 2 baby alligators for a week and return them to the house. They were snapping a fair bit more than I'd have liked. I had the strong suspicion it was only me doing this task. And obviously this was posted to the Reddit, and I responded, and I have probably the top comment. It's a speech, it's a quotation, well not a quotation, but it's Greg to Alex, : write that down, followed by 4 or 5 exclamation marks.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
Oh god. I think what I want to do is I want to like go up to Mark Watson and like ruffle his hair like a cat.
You should not do that without asking him first.
No, I certainly won't do it without his consent, but that's what he makes me want to do to him because I feel so. And also, oh god, I was going to say something else about him, but I've literally lost my train of thought.
Well, let's continue the train of thought into the next person.
Number 9, we have a minor disagreement. Our first one for a while with and we actually had a tie for 8th place, but this person's had to go a bit lower because they had a larger spread. I ranked them 12th. You ranked them 4th. It's Frank Skinner.
You put Frank Skinner that low? How dare you?
12's not bad. Like you said,
Frank is a top 5 contestant. I had to think long and hard about not putting him in second.
Yeah, well, when I ranked Noel Fielding much, much higher than you did, I didn't get pissy at you.
You told me to explain myself.
Yeah, but but that's all I said.
Upset. But
I love Frank Skinner. Okay, I like I said, everything past like a Roshan Connerty and above is a good contestant.
Yeah,
and like you said, Frank is there, but there in a good way. But at the same time, that's what he is, just there.
I put Frank that much higher because he's there, but every time you think about him, there's something that's genuinely good that comes up. Like,
oh yeah, he does have amazing
high divining. Frank Skinner is very old. Frank Skinner,
well, to be fair,
amalgamated a 55-year-old out of 3 people.
Can I just say the Frank Skinner being very old thing is only as funny as it is because we blew it out of proportion so much.
I know. That's what it means to me. And then also, Frank gets a notable boost because, as we have said, without Frank signing on to be a contestant, we would have no Taskmaster at all. So
that's true. I mean, I saw another contestant in a different way.
So with that in mind, I put Frank in 4th place, and I will defend that decision as needed.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I never did.
Yep.
I just felt like I would definitely say Frank Skinner is the most memorable just there contestant.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
Like, he did a lot of stuff that really I could name a lot of Frank Skinner moments. But at the same time, to me, it just doesn't feel right to really go any higher with him. Like, I'm happy with this. I'm happy with this position because it has to be a compromise for both of us. And yeah, obviously he fell down slightly because of his larger spread from our next contestant. Also with an average ranking of 8, we both ranked them at 8. Sally Phillips, boom.
Yep. Sally Phillips is...
I don't think much needs to be said about Sally Phillips. The water cooler moment alone is incredible.
The special cuddle.
Sally's
entire fun on that.
I love the fish task. The task with the fish puns, specifically. Yep. And yeah, there was another Sally moment that I was drawn. Oh yeah, the birthing of Alex. The birthing of Alex is insane.
Sally is weird, but in a way that makes you want to not only watch, but also laugh.
Yeah, that's the role Sally fulfills, which is... Sally fulfills a role that I don't think a lot of the female contestants on Taskmaster, specifically none of the female contestants in the first 5 series didn't fill. Which is
which role? Like,
the really, really... no filter crazy contestant.
That's true. I was going to say I would say of all the female contestants, her and Mel are my favorites.
We both have Sally and Mel in our top 10s if you can do process of elimination.
Maybe it's an age thing because Lolly, Catherine, Aisling, and Sarah and Rasheen are all quite young, and then Sally and Mel are both not young. And so maybe it's just a different way of doing comedy.
I mean, I guess people who are a little bit older, obviously, I don't say I guess, obviously people who are older have a bit more experience. I feel like the thing with like slightly younger comedians who don't really have as much exposure is that they feel Taskmaster to them is something that will it definitely give their career a big boost. But Sally Phillips was already quite well established before Taskmaster.
Yeah. Okay.
So she doesn't, I mean, like, having said that, there are some, like, I mean, I think back to, I don't say think back to, like, Mike Wozniak, who obviously people knew him before Taskmaster. He was in Man Down with Greg, but no one really knew him for him, I guess. He wasn't really like a stand-up comic. I mean, I'm sure he did Richard Herring's podcast at some point because everyone's done Richard Herring's podcast. But Taskmaster gave Mike Wozniak the exposure he needed. Like, all right, in terms of like generally young contestants, I'm thinking Rose Matafeo and Mawan Rizwan. I think, and Lolly, because I think at the time of filming, she might have been the youngest contestant on the show. That's sort of what it is. I think that's what it is. Comedians who aren't particularly well established, who are quite young, see Taskmaster as quite a boost, and as such, as a result, we sort of like they want to sort of be seen as like proper and kind of grown up. I think because they're like, oh, I want like this big boy show, if you get what I mean.
Okay.
Anyway, that's just a theory. A Taskmaster theory. Anyway.
Oh God.
Okay. Now, should we go on to number 7?
Yes, we should.
Number 7, with an average ranking of 6.5, I rank them 6th. You rank them 7th. It is Ramesh Ranganathan,
the angriest man on season 1.
Not just the angriest, the angry man. Like
all
other contestants, all contestants except Ramesh were sunshine and rainbows. And Ramesh was thunder and lightning.
Angry Dome. I love
Ramesh so much. Do you know I love Ramesh so much because if you've got obviously people there, we've had like angry contestants. But Ramesh is like the angry contestant who gives a shit and the only one to do so.
Yeah. I would love to have just a season of the angry people, which would be like
Ramesh,
Caster, Ramesh, Daisy May Cooper, and somebody else who are just all really hyper competitive and just want to throttle each other for being stupid.
I mean, there's different Ramesh is like, he raises his voice, but he's not sort of like screeching at the top of his lung, kind of like. We'll get to series 10 eventually, but Daisy May Cooper. Yeah, but all right, let me. That's him raise. That's the only time he raises his voice. Ramesh is angry, but he's sort of like death stare angry. He's not like, oh my fucking god, what the fuck are you doing? Kind of angry, if you see what I mean.
I guess.
And that's what's sort of funny. Like,
oh, wouldn't that be really funny if we had a season with 4 angry people and one like
Mel Gedroych.
No, one idiot.
Nish Kumar.
Yeah, like Nish, and Nish is like, it's rigged, so Nish is always winning.
Oh dear. No, they don't show the task. They show like they create the same task, but all the angry ones get handicaps. Anyway, oh god, obviously the watermelon task iconic. And I think the fact that Ramesh came so close to winning despite being the biggest loser is really funnily weird, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
Oh, and also his face when Josh Whittaker passed the first guess over to him.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was funny because Ramesh had no facial expressions outside of silent anger for the most part.
Yeah.
So it was hilarious to see him like showing other expressions, like, oh god, Like, when like Greg says something, I can't think of what it was, but it just makes Romish laugh.
Yeah.
And Romish beforehand is just like sat in his completely like either neutral or face or like he's X-raying Greg so hard. And then he just bursts into smile. It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I've been watching some Romish comedy, like stand-up of his lately, and have you seen the one where he talks about sorbet?
Probably not.
Well, basically, he gets pissed off because he's saying like, because he was talking about being vegan, which is something he went on about being on the show. But he said like, he was like offered two. Would you like lemon or raspberry flavored sorbet? And he's like, why have you got to make this harder for me? If I have 2 scoops of the lemon, I'll be thinking, if I had the lemon, what if the raspberry is better and vice versa? And then he says, now you've probably thought, why not just get 1 scoop of each? But if I get 1 scoop of each, I'm definitely going to prefer one to the other. And then the whole time I'm eating the one I like less. I'm thinking, why did I get 2 scoops of the other one? And I was thinking, I never liked that before. I never thought of it like that before.
I have.
Well,
All the time.
I do now. Anyway, do you remember I said we had a tie that couldn't be settled because they had the same average and the same spread?
Really?
Yeah. Well, we're coming up to it now. Tied for 5th place, both with an average of 8 and a spread of 8. The first person, I ranked them 2nd. You ranked them 10th, Nish Kumar. The other person, I ranked them 10th. You ranked them 2nd, Tim Key. Both of which are minor disagreements. How do we break this tie?
I don't know. Because the thing with Nish is that Nish is really funny because of how dumb he is and how bad he is at this in general. And Tim is the exact opposite. Tim is funny because he's really good at this.
So Tim Key is like the anti-Nish Kumar in a way.
Basically, like Tim will do whatever it takes to win.
They're like two sides of the same coin.
Yeah, even
That's
if it
why
means
they're at a
cheating. Even if it means cheating and running down a baby and whatnot.
Running down a baby?
No. Frank found the baby. Tim
bribed about charity. Lied about
comic
charity.
relief. And then there's Nish, who sees victory
absolute loose
that is within his grasp and just takes defeat instead. I'm looking at the Sudoku task or the basketball task where he's like, aha, I am the winner. And then it's like, oh, wait, no, it took you 79 tries, Nish.
Well, the thing with the basketball thing was not Nish. Like...
I know it was recorded like that, but Nish played it to perfection.
Yeah, that's true.
And then,
I mean, he kind of had to for the audience's entertainment.
Yeah. And then, of course, there's also, now that's what I call Nish's laugh. And a bunch of other things, and it's like Nish and Tim are basically a mirror image of each other.
I was thinking, I think Tim Key and Nish Kumar would be a very interesting pairing, just in general.
It would be really funny to watch them do things.
But what would be an even more amazing pairing? One that would actually make my head explode and the universe probably collapse in on itself.
What?
Nish Kumar and David Correos.
That would end in some chaos.
I genuinely don't think I could watch any more TV after that because that would be TV perfection right there. I guess we can't really break the tie.
I think that Tim is the higher one because Tim continues to appear in Taskmaster after his appearance because
That's true.
He helped Noel marry the duck
as well,
and he is the task consultant. So I think that bumps. So we are seeing the invisible hand of his work at play throughout the show.
All right, we're gonna.
So it's Nish and then Tim.
Okay, I can live with that. I would say we entered the top 5, but I couldn't because our number 5 and number 6 were at a tie. So the top 4, in 4th place, with an average of 6. I ranked them 7, you ranked them 5. It's Mel Gedroich.
Mel is criminally nice.
Yes.
Is clinically nice. Mel is everything about Mel is a positive. Even though she wasn't the greatest at this, she is absolutely
I mean, I think she
best.
could have won the series, I think.
She could have, but even if she didn't win, she's still one of those ones you look back and it's like, yes, she was very good at this.
Yeah, and honestly, how could you just not love Mel?
Exactly.
With the longest slide, the baby gap, and I think I think the camouflage task is probably my favorite Mel moment. I know that's quite mean.
I liked Taskmaster
Oh,
and the Melon Cute. And
Tugtemeister. Wait, was Tugtemeister Swedish or Norwegian
I
or something?
whatever it was,
Whatever it was, because like
Copenhagen,
every single Scandinavian country has its like own version of
yeah,
Taskmaster. One of them should have been called Tugtemeister, I think.
yep, but it was not, and I don't.
I
know
also
why.
think Fred the Swede should have been at least involved with Basti Test in some way.
Yep, but he is not because nothing is like that. Because of course it is. But
Life is a
anyways,
shame.
I really liked Tugtemeister. I also really liked her continuing, Mel and Desky sort of relationship they had going on.
Or Mel and Hugh, because it rolls off the tongue a little bit more.
Mel and Hugh, which I really liked.
But yeah, big up Desky.
Yep.
Now, should we talk about number 3?
Yes.
Now, number 3 is quite interesting. With an average rank of 3.5, this is my favorite contestant. But you've ranked them number 6. Josh Widdicombe.
Really?
This is going to be quite difficult for me because, yeah, obviously I love all of these people, but I have a lot of love to give to Josh Widdicombe.
There were 5 people who were better than him.
That's your opinion.
The tattoo was a great thing. Everything else he did was really good, but Mel knocked him out of the water. Frank did. Tim did. The other 2 people we haven't gotten to did.
The reason I rank Josh Widdicombe is not only my favorite contestant from these first 5 series, he is my favorite Taskmaster contestant of all time, full stop.
Interesting.
He's not I wouldn't say he's not the funniest, certainly. I love Josh Widdicombe because of what he represents within the show. And I know you say, like, Taskmaster wouldn't have gotten off the ground without Frank Skinner, but I would actually say the same more about Josh Widdicombe, because I feel like Josh Widdicombe changed the most after Taskmaster.
In what way?
It's kind of hard to describe, but I just feel like he seemed to grow up along with Taskmaster. Like, he was the youngest contestant in the first series. He was sort of like, I was thinking back to this funny clip in Would I Lie to You, where Josh Widdicombe is on and Mel Gedroich is also there. And she's calling Josh quite a trendy guy because he has curly hair and quite youthful features, or probably because there's like a 15-year age gap between them. But I remember Josh was on Lee Mack's team, and there was another guy, I don't remember exactly what he was, but he was called Matt, who was also on Lee's team, and he was bald, and Lee's like, "Don't listen to him, Matt," which was a funny Lee Mack moment. I just love. I think it probably just primarily is the tattoo, because it is, in the whole history of the show, the most commitment to any task that we've ever seen.
I do agree with you there, but I just think that,
and I think
I
think as a British person, and because Josh Widdicombe sort of has this attitude that he's going to make other people do the hard work for him. I know that's sort of but not Alex. He's sort of just going to be like, he waits around and then gets it done either himself last minute or someone else comes in to do it, and he still usually smashes it.
I suppose Josh is just
The
Josh is
imprint that Josh Widdicombe has left on Taskmaster is more than anyone else, I'm going to say.
I would not agree with you. I would say that, you know, there's a lot of people are have done more for the show. I mean, Tim is now fucking on staff.
Yeah, he's on, but all right, for me personally, Josh Widdicombe has left the biggest imprint on me.
I suppose we'll have to go with that. But who do we have
Thing is, for my
next?
number one contestant, I think I'm making a really weak argument, so I kind of have to keep talking. It's sort of just like you really like something, but you don't know why. It's I think it's more sentimental reasons why Josh is my favorite, because
Okay.
I have I think with with a show like Taskmaster, because I'd never seen anything like it before, and I remember watching the first series in like 2 or 3 days in my school in the library, and
Hmm.
I remember just thinking, "Oh God, this," because I originally thought nothing of Josh Widdicombe. Oh, that's something. That's what it is. Josh Widdicombe. I mean, he's not like Roshin Connerty in the sense where like you see her, you immediately know she's not going to win. But he's sort of just like, oh, I don't see him progressing very far. And then Josh Widdicombe keeps surprising you at every turn. I think, obviously, because he lost the first prize task, he came last in that, and then he had
Hmm.
a very okay rest of the first episode, and then he just starts getting more interesting. He keeps getting better and better. He starts outsmarting Greg. He starts to like kind of bend the rules in his own unique way, not always to his avail. And then he gets the tattoo, which is literally, I'm going to say set in stone, but it's not too far. Set in stone, the sort of like, this is the bar that we are working with. This is the bar I have set for you to try and match. Come and fight me. I know
I
it's basic, but that moment with the tattoo is just sort of like the bar was raised so high in such a short span of time that I felt like it's not a move anyone's ever done before. People have tried to do it, but to no avail. Um, and I just think that sort of impact, setting a bar that high so casually, that I just feel like no matter how funny any of the other contestants are, they could be funny, sure. I would, like I said, I don't think Josh Widdicombe is a particularly funny contestant, but it's because of the impact he had on the show. The highest bar ever set by any contestant ever, and the fact that no one's ever just come close to it. People have attempted again, like I said. That I feel like that is why he is my favorite.
hmm. I just don't have as strong of an opinion on Josh. I mean, he did one of the best prize tasks ever, which is the tattoo. Or I'm sorry, buy a present for the Taskmaster, but it's really just I mean, you obviously have deeper feelings on this than I do.
And like I said when I called out Spelvin, this is just an opinion. Do not I don't know. Everyone's opinion is their own.
Hmm.
Basically, what everyone says when they feel like their opinion is hurt and other people don't agree with it. No, I'm just kidding. I can understand why other people wouldn't really rank Josh Widdicombe as high, but to me, it is what he represents within the show itself and the impact that he has had. Why I feel that way.
I j- I just feel that there are other people with bigger impacts. Really.
I
Like
mean,
people
people
like
leave
if we're
big.
going
I
to
mean, someone might leave a bigger impact on one specific person, but I feel like as a general audience of Taskmaster, and Josh People has impacted the most people in the biggest way. Like relative to the number of people and the impact, he is the biggest.
All right. Do we want to go on to the next one?
Yeah. I feel like I've exhausted. Like I like all of them, but like I said, I like Josh for more sentimental reasons and what he represents. I like all the others just sort of cause they're funny, really. Now, our next contestant, number 2, with an average ranking of 3, we both rank them third. It's Desky, Hugh Dennis.
Yep, Hugh's hardcore my favorite from season 4.
Oh God, yeah.
Hugh got done so dirty in that season.
I feel like because like I'm just thinking, have you ever seen Outnumbered, the sitcom that Hugh starred in?
I have not.
Well, basically, he's like it's like a very average sitcom. It's a mum, dad, 3 kids kind of sitcom, and
Okay.
but the thing is, it's not sort of like The Simpsons where the dad's really dumb and the mum's sort of just like nagging her husband all the time. It's just sort of like Hugh is just like, he's very obviously just so dumb with life. His character is called Peter in that show, and Peter's just so dumb with life. And then he's just like, he's always saying no to things his family does. He always does things so reluctantly. And so then to see him come on Taskmaster and then just like basically be the opposite of his character in that show is so hilarious. Like, it's unreal.
Huh. Yeah, no, all I've seen him in is Mock
No
the
Time
Week,
to Die.
No Time to Die, and Taskmaster, really. I think he might have been
I was watching
one other
Outnumbered
show.
long before I started watching Mock the Week, so I sort of know.
love Mock the Week.
Oh yeah, it's an amazing show, and I'm so excited that Dara O'Brien himself is finally going to be on the show. Although it's going to be
so
ages
in.
before we talk about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love Hugh. I think my personal favorite moment of Hugh is one of his more underrated ones. It's like, it's in one of the live tasks. I'm not entirely sure which one it is, but it's like Hugh's going to read out the task. He looks around for a bit, sees Alex, and it's like, oh, hi. And then Greg asks Hugh if he's all right, and then Hugh just responds with Thursday.
Yep. We talked about that one.
Yeah, I think
I still think
that should have been the title of the episode. Which one?
The Cloud Appreciation Society is so good.
Oh, do you know what I was thinking of? Now that you just said that, do you know what I've thought of when the Cloud Appreciation Society? There's this one, I can't remember what it was called, but there's this one episode of The Simpsons, to go back to that show, where Abe Simpson, the grandpa, he appears on the front cover.
Old man yells at Cloud.
That's sort of what it reminded me of, because in a sense, Hugh's not that far off.
Nope.
So yeah, Hugh Dennis. Amazing contestant. Now, our number 1 contestant, you've probably whittled it down by now. Joe's probably really, really excited to talk about who's left. I am too, although not to the same extent that he is. With an average ranking of 2.5, I've ranked this person number 4, but Joe has ranked them number 1. Therefore, they are objectively the best contestant
on Taskmaster. It is the most interesting and strange man
who's
ever be on this.
The man whose anus
show.
is too high.
Bob Mortimer is like when I made this list, I knew Mortimer was going at the top, unless I could think of a really good person to put in front of him, and I couldn't. And Catherine Ryan was going at the bottom, and I filled in from there. Bob is by far the best contestant of the first 5 seasons. I haven't seen beyond that. So no, this is objective fact. Bob, from the sheer number of moments that leave the other contestants rolling on the floor in laughter, Bob is second to none. There's a thing from almost every episode where he just says something and it just continues on while everyone else is dying behind him.
I do love Bob's nonchalance of just like when he's talking about his anus being slightly too high and he has to sit on the toilet reverse, how he's just talking about it as though he's having like a normal conversation.
Which
in a
that's
comedy
not
show.
a thing, and I don't think that's actually something he has.
No,
But
no, he said it
it's
wasn't
still the
true. He said it wasn't
oh
true.
yeah,
But
it's still the funniest thing from that
yeah,
episode.
it's amazing. And every Bob Mortimer moment has made me laugh out loud. And obviously, yes, I love him. He's in my top 5. The reason he's not my favorite, though, is, well, the thing is, I've talked about Josh being my favorite for more what he means to the show and means to me personally. So other than that, it sort of became like who's fun from like 2 down. It was sort of just like who's funniest, who's that sort of stuff. And even then, Bob has still been. Why did I rank? I'm starting to. Why did I rank Bob? I just think Nish Kumar is just like. Nish Kumar is just so hopelessly bad in general that I just cannot help but laugh. I think it's that Britishness in me that just loves to see people fail. I think that's really what it is. Bob's humor doesn't sort of just comes from him saying like funny things. Like the moments where
Bob
Bob
is
Mortimer
the realist art,
yeah.
as opposed to whatever the hell Nish is.
My personal favorite Bob Mortimer moment, and it's not actually something he says, it's something he does during one of the tasks, is when they're doing the synchronized task, and it's when he fucks up and doesn't manage to coordinate and get back with the girls. That is my favorite Bob Mortimer moment, because it's like just seeing his reaction to be like they're all just so completely emotionless as they're following it like robots. And then Bob does one thing wrong and he's just like, oh my god. And you can just see in his face. I prefer sort of physical comedy to like written comedy, because I sort of just like I see something funny, I just laugh. And obviously I do find like written comedy funny, but I don't find it in the same way as like unscripted people doing stuff comedy. So that's why Nish Kumar went above him. And I ranked Hugh Dennis above because Hugh Dennis was just such a contrast to what I'd seen him personally for a long, and what I knew him as for such a long time, that it was sort of just like, oh my god, this is the real you. It's amazing. And
yeah,
like I said, I love Bob Mortimer, but his comedy was more just like, this is really what I expected from you. I didn't expect anything. I didn't expect what Hugh did to come from him. I sort of expected what Nish to do, but his was just like, it literally was just like, because that British in me loves seeing people fail. And Josh,
I just think that the general insanity of Bob is triumphant over everything else.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's an argument between who's more insane, Bob or Hugh.
Hugh is very coldly competent. Bob is
Bob's very nonchalant, like I said.
Yeah, Hugh is a surgeon's blade, and Bob is driving a thumbtack with a sledgehammer.
Fair enough. You come up with some very interesting analogies.
That's what I'm here for.
This isn't actually the first disagreement that me and Joe had, because we were talking about potentially ranking something else before the podcast, and Joe was like, because it's something we both hold quite
You're still wrong, by the way.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
I mean, after this, if you're not doing anything, we can go on Discord and we can watch like a list of someone talking about why the thing I said is better, because I'm not the only person.
I know which video you're talking about, and they're wrong too. Everybody else is wrong. I am the only one who is correct unless they agree with me.
We're gonna debate this privately afterwards. But anyway, that's our ranking. Congratulations to Bob Mortimer, a very worthy winner of the ranking. Although Josh Whittaker will still be my personal favorite. Anyway, yeah, that's that. When will Series 6 come out? I'm not too sure. We'll probably post some sort of short episode saying when.
Yeah, we like to take a couple of weeks, maybe a month off in between.
We're probably gonna our podcast is probably gonna change a bit after this. We're gonna have some new jingles. I'm gonna hopefully update Taskmaster Joe. We'll have the Hawaiian shirt count.
Exciting times ahead.
Yeah. So with that being said and done, I've been Emerson,
And I've been Joe.
and we shall see you when we feel like it. Goodbye.
Yep. Goodbye.